welcome all dignitaries. I welcome all dignitaries and participants on behalf of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa on this sixth day of online lecture series organized by BCMG for ensuing exam for member and president of Consumer Association, Consumer Commission. Today also we are having live session by Advocate Jaymala Ostwal, madam. Welcome, madam.
Thank you.
I am glad to have opportunity to introduce Advocate Jaymala Ostwal, madam. Madam's educational qualification is BSL LLB honors from Symbiosis Law College, Pune. Advocate Jaymala madam joined office of Advocate Bhagyashree Alte at Pune in 2000 and was assisting her in various civil and criminal matters. Madam is founder of JJ Associates. Advocate Jaymala Ostwal madam has vast experience in handling various types of matters such as writ petitions, revisions, PIL, appeals, suits, testamentary matters in High Court, City Civil Courts, Sessions Court, Small Causes Courts, Cooperative Courts. Advocate Jaymala madam also appeared in arbitration proceedings before Honorable Supreme Court. And madam has also appeared before various tribunals such as DRT, DRAT, District Consumer Forum, State Consumer Forum, National Consumer Forum, and MECT. Madam has also appeared in proceedings under Bombay Police Act. Madam has been appointed as legal advisor by Tenancy Redevelopment of Cooperative Housing Society. I request Advocate Jaymala Ostwal madam to guide us on legal metrology. Over to you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hemangi. Warm welcome to all participants. Before starting, I would like to express my gratitude for Bar Council of Goa and Maharashtra, apex body of the state lawyers. Thank you so much for inviting me to take up this subject and explain to all participants. I would like to specially thank you to Milind Patil sir, Sangram Desai sir, Jayan Jaibhave sir, and Uday Varunjikar sir for considering me to come here and giving me this opportunity. Today's subject is a very interesting subject in a way. It's a very different compared to other subjects because it's not. I mean, though it is related to our day-to-day life, many people have not heard about this subject. What is metrology? I'll start with the Legal Metrology Act 2009. So this is a combination of two words, metrology and legal metrology. So what actually metrology is? Metrology means the science of, in a common language, we can say, or in a very simple language, it's a science of measurement or a system of measurement. How this word originally come from? It is come from Greek language. This is a combination of two Greek words, that is metron and logos, which literally means study of measurements. Now, if you see the Act, Metrology Act, in Act 2G, now what is the legal metrology? There are, if you see the metrology, we can subdivide into three parts of this metrology. One is scientific metrology, then second is applied metrology, and third is legal metrology. Now, what is legal metrology? That is defined in the Act, that is Section 2 definitions, and G, clause G, subclause G, which says legal metrology means part of metrology which treats units of weighments and measurement, methods of weighments and measurement, and weighing and measurement instruments in relation to mandatory and technical and legal requirements which have object of ensuring public guidance from point of view of security and accuracy of weighments and measurements. So basically, to ensure the accuracy in the interest of public at large, there are certain requirements, there are certain technical specifications which every person who may be manufacturer, who may be importer, who may be a repairer, he has to comply certain terms and conditions as per these acts while dealing with these measures and uh, payments and measures. Now, if you see the word view of the act, this act is of comprising of total 57 sections, 5 chapters, including 57 sections, and 7 types of rules are mentioned in that act. Uh, from the point of view of examination, which rules are most important, that also I will tell, but I'll just narrate. First, the legal metrology general rules. Then second is the legal metrology numeration rules, the legal metrology national standard rules, the Indian Institute of Legal Metrology rules, the legal metrology approval of model rules, and the legal metrology packaged commodities, packaged commodities rules 2011, and now amended rules are also incorporated in the act, which came into force from this 1st of June 2023. That is a day before yesterday, they actually came into force. And last rule is the legal metrology government approved test center rules. So these are the 7 kind of rules are mentioned in the act. Now, starting with the first chapter, in first chapter is in every act as it is mentioned, it is consisting of preliminary then definitions, and then section 3 relates to the overriding effect. So this legal metrology act came into force on 1st of April 2011. Now, what was the position before the 2011? If you look at section 57, then earlier, before coming this act into force, earlier there was the Standards of Weights and Measures Act 1976 and the Standards of Weights and Measures Act Enforcement Act 1985 were in force. However, after coming this act into force, both these acts were repealed by the government, and now this act and these rules are in the force. Now, coming back to the definitions, there are various definitions, but just for the at a glance, I'll just tell which are the major definitions, important definitions. A definition of director. Here it is in section 49. There is a proviso mention that companies can appoint a director for the purpose of compliance of legal metrology. So that director is included here. Then what is export? What is import? Then what is label? Who is manufacturer? Then what is the meaning of pre-packaged commodity? Who is the person? Then repairer, seal, stamp, transaction, weight and measure and verification. These are some important definitions which has provided into section 2. Now, as far as definition of person is concerned, like IT Act, this person definition of person is very wide, I can say. And in this person is included a Hindu undivided family, then every department or office, then every organization established or constituted by the government, every local authority within the territory of India, a company, firm and associations of individuals, trust constituted under an act, every cooperative society constituted under an act, every other society registered under the Societies Registration Act. So you can understand that here meaning of person is there is a very wider meaning of person provided in the act. Everything is covered. Now, as far as coming to the section 3, section 3 says that provisions of this act is having overriding effect on all other provisions of the act. Now, going through this overriding effect, there is, we can, this is also correlated with section 51. Section 51 says that provision of IPC and CRPC are not applicable to any offense which is covered under this act. That is chapter 13 of the IPC. So, no, if legal metrology officer, inspector wants to file the complaint against any person under this act for the violation of sections of violation of rules, certain rules, then he has to apply only provisions under the Legal Metrology Act, and no provisions of IPC or CRPC or any other act would be applicable to offenses which are mentioned in this act. Now, a very interesting judgment here, which I would like to mention, that state of Uttar Pradesh versus Aman Mittal citation name, and it is pronounced by the Supreme Court on 4th of September 2019, wherein a Supreme Court quashed sections 265 and 267 of IPC and held that no, as per section 51, you cannot charge for the same offense under IPC as well as Legal Metrology Act, and you can apply only Legal Metrology Act for these kind of offenses. Now, one more judgment is there of our own Bombay High Court, that is Dhanuka Agrotech Limited versus State of Maharashtra, which is pronounced by Justice Chandurkar on 7th of June 2022. In this matter, it was a very interesting question arised. It is related to the Insecticide Act. Inspector of, in this matter, Inspector of Metrology intimated that this section 3 is having override effect, and packing and labeling of the insecticides was to done in the manner as provided in the Legal Metrology Act. However, Bombay High Court held that no, because of in that act, Insecticide Act, rules are framed under 1971 Act, and there is a particular procedure and particular guidelines are given that how this packaging should be done. And therefore, as far as section 3 is concerned, that will not come into the way of those rules, and provisions of Insecticide Act will prevail over this act. Now, coming to the chapter 2. Chapter 2 speaks about the units and units of weights and measurements. Standard weights and measures. It speaks about standard weights and measures. So now going by section 5, section 4 defines units and weights of measures to be based on metric system. Now, metric system is based on, it should be based on international system of units. There is metric system. Now, in section 5, units, base units are mentioned. Which are those base units? So first unit is length. So length will be always defined in the meters, and no other unit can be used to decide length. Then second unit is mass. Mass will be always by the kilogram. You should define it by kilogram. So kilogram is the base unit. For length, meter is the base unit. For mass, is kilogram is the base unit. Now for time there is a second is the base unit. Then fourth is electric current. Electric current will be always calculated in ampere. So what is then fifth is thermodynamic temperature, that will be always calculated in Kelvin. Sixth is luminous intensity, that will be always calculated in candela. And 7 is the amount of substance, that is mole, that will be always calculated in mole. Now this metric system, where it is originated, it is actually originated in the France in the year 1719, and which is based on the decimal system. Now, one Mr. Gabriel Mountain, who is considered as the father of this MS system. Now, interestingly, while going through these provisions, what I found that we are considering second is the base unit for the time. If we might be aware, in Vedic system, if we will calculate time, we are as per Vedic system, we are calculating time in the muhurtas, and 24 hours day is divided into 30 muhurtas, 30 kalas, and in each muhurta there is 48 minutes. So now if you calculate 48 multiply into 30, and total 24 hours into 60 seconds, that 1440 minutes, that is the same measurement is coming. So maybe our ancestors were knowing this second unit even prior to invention of this international unit system. Now, what is ampere? Ampere is to measure the rule of measure the rate of electron flow That is the unit named after French physicist André Marie Ampere. I'm just for the general knowledge, I'm telling this. Now, what is the Kelvin? Kelvin is it is differed from the Fahrenheit and Celsius system, and this is the basically based on the zero uh, based on the measurement of zero, which differs from the Celsius or Fahrenheit, and it is named after the British scientist some James Kelvin, and he is called Lord Kelvin. Now, coming back to the luminous intensity, whereby the measure is candela. Luminous intensity is it measures the radiant power emanating from an object in a given direction, and it is dependent upon the wavelength of the light being emitted. So if you'll take the example, what is the luminity intensity of the glow worm, and what is the luminity intensity of candle? So candle is having higher luminity intensity. Now, what is the mole? Mole is the measurement of number of particles in this specific substance. This is all very technical, but we have to measure. I mean, from exam point of view, of course, you have to keep it in mind that length is meter, mass is kilogram, time is second, electric current is ampere, thermodynamic temperature is Kelvin, luminous intensity is candela, and amount of substance is mole. So that you can make it chart and you can remember like that. Now, base units are the base units of the numeration. So 0 to 9 digits are the base units of numeration, and in numerology there are separate numeration rules. In that, it is provided in the act that how you have to write those digits on any packet, any product. Now, schedule is also provided in this act, and in this schedule, they have started it is from 1000, which is ending with 1000 trillion. And in Marathi also it is given, Marathi and Hindi language it is also given. That is 1000 is starting from hazar, and last digit they have given shank, that is for 1000 trillion. Now, rule provides the manner in which number should be written. So that in particular rules that is provided that how you should write the numbers on particular packet or particular product. Now, coming back to section 5 and 6, 7, this is standard units and weights of measure. So everything, whatever you will be packing, whatever you will be providing, that will be as per base units which are mentioned in the section 5. Section 8, 9, and 10 talks about the reference standard, secondary standard, and working standard. Now, what is reference standard? That is the set of standard weight or measure made or manufactured by the central government for verification of the secondary standards. That is the reference standard. Then that is provided under Rule 26 of National Standard Rules. Then what is secondary standards? That is the set of standard weight or standard measurement made or manufactured by or on behalf of the central government or state government for the verification of working standard. That will be your secondary standard. And working standard is for the verification of standard weight or standard measure other than the national prototypes provided under that particular rule. That is Rule 20. Now, section 10. Any problem? Now, section 10 speaks about use of weight or measure for particular purposes. So you should use that weight or measure for the particular purpose only, other than for what that usage is provided, and you cannot use it for anything else. Then section 11 talks about prohibition of quotation otherwise than in the terms of standard units and weight, measure, and enumeration. So you cannot quote or make whether by word or mouth or otherwise any price or charge, or issue or exhibit any price list, invoice, cash memo, or other document or prepare, publish, or any advertisement, poster, other document, or indicate the net quantity of prepackaged commodity uh, ex- other than in accordance with the standard unit of weight, measure, and numeration, which is provided in the Act.
कार्यक्रम मी जास्त अटेंड करते आणि तिचं नाव घेतात. सगळे यांचे कार्यक्रम मी जास्त अटेंड करते. ओळखतात ती जास्त करत नाही अटेंड.
Somebody's mic is on.
मी पण आहे सेकंड करते.
Just mute all and thereafter unmute ma'am.
खंडारे मॅडम.
There is some Section 12 speaks about that any custom or usage contrary to the standard weights or measures or numeration is to be void. So there will be no custom prevail over beyond this Act. Now, chapter 3, which speaks about the appointments and powers of the directors and control. There is an appointment of the controller, appointment of the director and controller, legal metrology officer. What is the hierarchy? Hierarchy is provided in the Act. So now there is a director, then joint director, additional director, assistant director, deputy director, and legal metrology officer. Likewise, under section 13, 14, 15, director of controller, joint controller, additional controller, deputy controller, and assistant controller can be appointed. Section 15 provides for the powers of the seizure, inspection and seizure and forfeiture.
पैसे दिले विवाद डिस्प्यूट मध्ये बाहेर येते तेव्हा.
Section 17 provides for records to be maintained by manufacturer or repairer or dealer. So section 17 speaks about every manufacturer, exporter or dealer of weight or measures shall maintain such records and register as may be prescribed, and they should make it available as and when asked by these officers. Now, coming to the section 18, which is very important. It talks about the declaration on pre-packaged commodities, and there are certain declarations which you have to made as per the pre-packaged commodity rules. No person shall manufacture, pack, sell, import, or distribute, deliver, offer, export, possess, or sale of any pre-packaged commodity until such package is in such standard quantity and number based thereon such declarations and particulars cannot exist. It means you have to follow this rule, and violation of this rule will amount to
इथे सर्क्युलेट करा इथे राहिले.
जयमला मॅडम जरा एक मिनिट मॅडम. पार्टिसिपंट्स तुम्ही फारच डिस्टर्ब करताय. Whoever is disturbing, we have to remove you. Please switch off your mic.
त्या संदर्भामध्ये या नावामध्येच आपल्याला लक्षात आलं असेल की त्याचा मेन उद्देश काय आहे. मागील काही दिवसापासून म्हणण्यापेक्षा काही वर्षापासून घटना घडत आहे संपूर्ण देशामध्ये. आणि ज्या पद्धतीनं एका लोकशाही.
हॅलो पार्टिसिपंट्स, प्लीज तुमचा माइक ऑफ करा. प्लीज माइक ऑफ. We are unable to continue the session. Why don't you understand?
ज्या घटना घडतायत किंवा ज्या गोष्टी होतात त्याच्या विरोधामध्ये जर कोणी काही बोलायला गेलं तर त्या व्यक्तीवर वेगवेगळ्या माध्यमातून दबाव आणण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. आणि म्हणून ज्या अन्यायाच्या विरोधात आपल्याला आवाज उठवायचा असतो.
हॅलो
त्या अन्यायाला.
Ma'am, can you please remove them?
Yeah, I will, but there is
please remove ma'am. Hira Jadhav is the person.
आणि हेमांगी पठारे.
Yes, yes, I am trying it. I am not disturbing, madam. I am the coordinator of these things. I am trying to remove Hira Jadhav, madam. Please wait for some time.
And Akanksha Sarpade, ma'am, also there.
Madam, Akanksha Sarpole is the account from which advocate madam Jaymala madam is giving you guidance. Please hold for some time. Jaymala madam,
Yes,
you can
I-
continue, please.
yes, thank you so much. So now coming to the section 19, this is for the registration of importer of weight or measure. So no person shall import or any weight or measure unless he is registered with the director in such a manner as prescribed. So if you want to import any weight or measure outside the India, from outside the India, then you should register with the director, and then only you will be able to import those things. As far as section 21 is concerned, training in legal metrology. For imparting the training in legal metrology, there is an institute which is formed as an Indian Institute of Legal Metrology under the Act of 1976. What is the approval of model? That speaks section 22. Every person before manufacturing or importing any weight or measure shall seek approval of model of such weight or measure in such a manner on payment of such fees from the such authorities. So before make usage of any weight or measurement, you have to seek the approval of that model, and then only you can use that weight or measure. Now, coming to the what is the prohibition on the manufacturer, repairer, or sale of weight or measure without license. So no person. Now I told you person. We have seen the definition of person, and it is having very wide meaning. So now see here, word is used. No person shall manufacture, repair, or sell, or offer, or expose, or possess for repair or sale any weight measure unless he holds a license issued by the controller under subsection 2. So you cannot manufacture, you cannot repair, or you cannot sell. All things are prohibited. Manufacturing is prohibited, repairs are prohibited, selling is prohibited, and you will have to obtain license, necessary license under this act from these concerned officers, and then only you can do the manufacturing, or you can repair weights and measure, or you can sell weights and measure. And therefore, I told you the definition of person, which we read in that definition in section 2. That is very wider definition like Income Tax Act. There are 8 categories are covered. Now, coming back to chapter 4, it is related to verification and stamping of the weights and measure. So every person having any weight or measure in his possession, in his custody, or in the control of the circumstances, indicating that such weight or measure is so intended, is likely to be used by him in any transaction or protection, shall, before putting such weight or measure into such use, have such weight and measure verified at such place and during such hours by the controller. So before using any, as I said, before importing, you have to take, or before manufacturing or repairing or sale, you have to take the permission. So at every stage, there are certain permissions, there are certain compliances provided under this act. And until and unless that manufacturer or importer or repairer will not do those compliances, he or she will be not able to do the things in that manner, and ultimately it will be the amount of the violation of those sections or breach of those regulations. Now chapter chapter 5 is related to offenses and penalties. If you go by the chapter, in this chapter, total sections 25 to 57, those are providing offenses and penalties. There are total 23 types of offenses provided in section 25 to 47. Out of these, section 48 provides for the compounding of offenses. Now, almost 17 offenses are compoundable, except section 26, section 4 offenses mentioned in section 26, section 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. these offenses are not compoundable. Other than these, that is section 25, section 27 to 39, and section 45 to 47, all these offenses are compoundable. Now, in this, main thing is this, to remember that these offenses are compoundable even pre-institution and post-institution of the prosecution. So you can compound all these offenses before institution of prosecution and after institution of prosecution. So this compounding provision is available at both stages, pre-institution as well as post-institution of the prosecution. Now, just quickly, I'm not going through all these, I'm just going through the heading. Now, what is section 25? That is the penalty for use of non-standard weight and measure. So there are certain penalties are mentioned. So for this 25,000 is penalty, and for second or subsequent offense with imprisonment of a term which may extend to the 6 months or also fine. So there are these fines are provided and imprisonment and punishments are provided. As far as state of Maharashtra is concerned, all these sections are already, you can say, decriminalized, except those six sections which I have told you, that six sections, section 26, 41 to 44, and that. Now, section 46(2), under section 48(2), director is having powers to compound certain offenses, and under section 48 subclause 3, controller is having to compound these offenses. Now, coming back to the section 49, which is very, there are a lot of judgments under this section 49, which I have gone through. This section is particularly provided for the offenses by the company and power of the court to publish name, place, and business, etc., for the companies convicted. Now, where an offense under this act has been committed by a company, now we have seen the definition of person. So, company is also person as per this act. And when the offense is committed by the company, subclause A, Roman subclause 1, the person, if any, who has been nominated under subsection 2 to be in charge of or responsible to the company for the conduct of the business of the company, to as a person responsible, or subclause 2, where no person has been nominated, every person who is at the time of offense was committed, was in charge of, or was responsible to the company for the conduct of the business of the company and the company. So there are three categories. First, if the person is nominated at the time of making compliance or formation of company, like he is nominated that he will be looking after, he is the director or he is the person who will be looking after the all compliances of the Legal Metrology Act, then only this person would be responsible, and only this charges can be leveled against only this nominated person, and only this person will be having the power of compounding the offenses. If no such person is nominated by the company, then all the directors who were at that relevant time were in director of the company or responsible for the day-to-day affairs of the company, they all will be responsible under this Legal Metrology Act. Now, there are various judgments of Bombay High Court as well as other courts, Supreme Court, that a legal metrology officer has filed the complaints against the all directors, and then ultimately they went into quashing, and then High Court and Supreme Court has held that no, you cannot held all these persons liable because there are no specific allegations leveled against all these directors. In one of the interesting case, that is, if I'm not wrong, I'll come back to that point. Now, section 50 provides for the appeals. Appeals provision is there. Section 50, as I said, as per hierarchy, legal metrology officer who will be if he has passed some orders, then appeal will lie either to the director or controller as per the offenses and as per the provisions. Now, if order is passed by the director or controller, then appeal will lie to the central government. For filing, the appeal period is 60 days. And if you cannot file the appeal within 60 days, then grace period is granted, that is 60, further 60 days. So total period is 120 days for filing the appeal against these orders. Now, section 52 and 53 talks about the powers of the central government as well as the state government for making the rules. And section 55 is very important. Where act will not apply, to whom act will not apply, that referred in the section 55. That act not to apply in certain cases, the provisions of this act insofar as they relate to the verification. So, so far as they relate to the verification and stamping of the weights and measures, shall not apply to any weight or measures used in any factory exclusively engaged in the manufacture of any arms, ammunition, or both for the use of the armed forces of the Union. B, used for scientific investigation and for research, and C is manufactured exclusively for the export. So stamping and verifications is exempted if these weights and measures are used for the production of arms or ammunition or both. That is for the armed forces of the Union of India, our country. Then if these weights and measures used for the scientific investigation or research, then also stamping and verification would not be required. And if these weights and measures are manufactured solely for the export purpose, then also stamping and verification provisions would not be attract. And therefore, it is act not to apply in certain cases, that is section 57. Now, coming to the last section, that is Repeal and Standards of Weights and Measures Act 1976 and Standard of Weights and Measures Enforcement Act 1985. So this is the last section whereby both these earlier acts were repealed and this new act came into force and this new rule came into the force. Now, as I said, there are a lot of rules. As far as sections are concerned, these are 57 sections, total 57 sections comprising in 5 chapters. And in 5 chapters, first chapter is related to your preliminary definition, that is title, definitions, and overriding effect. Then second title is what is the base unit of the standard weights and measures. What are the standard units of weights and measures? What is the reference unit, secondary unit, or working standard? Then prohibition for the quotation and that thing and custom or usage. Then third chapter is related to the appointment of the legal metrology officers, then controller, directors, and their powers of search and seizure. Fourth is the verification and stamping of weights and measures, and fifth chapter is for the offenses and penalties, and including this repeal and power of the central government and state government of making the rules and act not to apply to in certain cases as far as verification and stamping. So in short, in 5 chapters, in 57 sections, this act is divided in such a chronology. Now, as far as rules are concerned, rules are very vast. I can see in the Bare Act that page number 23 rules are starting and these are ending on page number 520. So you can imagine how vast scope of these rules. But then, as I said, general rules, those are related to basically specifications of weights and measures. There are different kind of machineries, different kind of products they are using, and for that particular measurement, particular whatever things are there, they are using that provided as per specifications. You should do in this way, you should do in that way. Now, as far as the numeration rules, I told 0 to 9 digits number also. So coming back to the very important chapter which I told you of these rules came into the force from the 1st of June 2023, that is day before yesterday. That is basically legal metrology packaged commodities rules, and there are certain amendments made in these rules. Now, as per these rules may be called the legal metrology packaged commodities rules 2011. Now, in these rules, there are certain important definitions are provided. Consumer definition will be the same as provided in Consumer Act. Then dealer, who is the dealer? Who is the industrial consumer? Who is the institutional consumer? what is e-commerce, what is e-commerce entity, all these definitions provided under the these rules. Now, provisions applicable to the packages intended for the retail sale. This is rule 3, application of the chapter. Packages of commodities containing quantity of more than 25 kilograms. So these provisions of this chapter shall not apply to. This will not apply to the packages of commodities containing quantity of more than 25 kilograms or 25 liters. Then B, cement, fertilizer and agricultural farm produce sold in bags above 50 kilograms. And then C is packaged commodities meant for industrial consumers or institutional consumers. So basically this will not apply to the these 3 kind of categories. If quantity is more than 25 kilogram or 25 liter, then it is, if product is cement or product is fertilizer or agriculture farm, it is more than 50 kg. And then if it is meant for the industrial consumers or institutional consumers. Now, who is in the industrial consumer and who is institutional consumer? Industrial consumers means the consumers who buys packaged commodities directly from the manufacturer or from an importer or from wholesale dealer for use by that industry, and the package shall have declaration not for retail sale. So he is the industrial consumer if packet is not for retail sale. And who is the institutional consumer? Means the institution which buys packaged commodities bearing a declaration not for retail sale directly from the manufacturer or from the importer or from the wholesaler dealer for the use by that institution and not for commercial or trade purposes. So for this category also this rule will be not applicable. Now coming to the section rule 6, this is very important, that which declaration to be made on every package. So first is every package shall bear thereon or on label securely affixed thereto a defined, plain and conspicuous declaration made in accordance with the provisions of this chapter as to the name and address of the manufacturer. So on every packet there should be name and address of the manufacturer should be mentioned. When the manufacturer is not the packer, the name and address of the manufacturer and packer both. If manufacturer is some other person and packer is some other person, then both names, name and addresses of both the person should be mentioned. And if it is imported, then name and address of the importer shall be also mentioned. So name and address of the manufacturer, packer or importer as the case may be. Then second is common, the name and the country of the origin of the manufacturer assembly in the case of imported products shall mention on the package. Now B is the common and generic name of the commodity contained in the package. In the case of packages with more than one product, the name and number and quantity of each product shall be mentioned on the package. So generic name should be also mentioned of the commodity contained in that package. And if there are packages which more than one product, the name and number of quantity of each product. Then the net quantity should be mentioned on that packet. Then the retail price of the package shall clearly indicate that it is the maximum retail price inclusive of all taxes. That should be also mentioned on the package. Then every package shall bear name, address, telephone number and email address of the person who can be or the office which can be contacted in case of consumer complaints. This is very important, that every package shall also bear name and telephone number of that person with whom consumer can lodge its complaint if that product is faulty or product is defective or anything. Now, if you go by the Consumer Protection Act, I mean, since this is the for the Consumer Protection Act, like what is the scope of Consumer Protection Act? Consumer Protection Act basically defined into, I mean, into 4 corners. If you will see the Consumer Protection Act, then first, if there is a deficiency of service, then you can lodge the consumer complaint. Then if there is defect in goods or faulty products are delivered, then you can lodge a consumer complaint. Then if there is a unfair trade practice is followed by the particular person, or company or organization as provided in this act, then also consumer complaint can be lodged, and if there is a restricted trade practice. Now, what is how we can correlate this Legal Metrology Act and Consumer Protection Act? I'll just give one example. There is one case conducted in the our in Maharashtra State Consumer Forum, I guess. There is a one Kamath group of hotels wherein takeaway price of that oxy-rich bottle, water bottle, whenever they used to sell in the hotel, they used to provide it for 10 rupees. But if takeaway price was the 14 rupees. So for that purpose, somebody has filed the complaint, and ultimately that group was fined by the Consumer Forum. That's stating that no, if MRP is written, that maximum retail price is written on the water bottle is 10 rupees, then you cannot charge extra money, that is 4 rupees extra for takeaway price. So that is the unfair practice. So if anything, as mentioned in this package commodities rules, if some violation is there, then that will amount to the violation, or that will amount to the unfair trade practice. So if you're not following these rules, legal metrology rules, or if you're not following these legal metrology compliances, then that will be definitely going to affect the quality of the product or quantity of the product, and therefore it will be amounting to the unfair trade practice, and therefore you are entitled to lodge the complaint under Consumer Protection Act. Now there are various even under new Consumer Protection Act, now there is a authority provided that you can lodge complaint there also. You can lodge central authority, Consumer Protection Act. Then under Metrology Act also, they have in the Maharashtra state, they have also started the government website, Maharashtra, in our Vaidmapan site. On that also you can lodge your complaint, as well as you can lodge your complaint with the legal metrology officer. So whenever there is a violation of these compliances, or whenever you are getting a product not as per quantity or as per quality or anything related to this weight or measurement or any length or that kilograms or anything, and whatever this base as per base unit, that product is not as per the standards of the base units as provided in section 5, then you can lodge the complaint under this act, I guess. So these are the this is the general, you can say in 45 minutes I can cover this. So I have covered almost all sections and all important rules, of course from the point of examination view. So if you participants are having any query, you can please continue.
Anybody is having any questions? Madam, one question is there. In case of conflict between Legal Metrology Act and CRPC, IPC, CPT, does Metrology Act prevail?
No, Metrology Act will be not applicable. I have mentioned that in Act, that section is very clear. In section 53, it is stated that 51 provisions of IPC and CRPC will be not applicable to any offense which is punishable under the Metrology Act.
Okay. Anyone else? If you have any queries, what should we understand term Hindu in definition?
What?
What should we understand term Hindu in definition?
Hindu.
Hindu. It is written in some chat box from Rajesh Rahegaonkar.
Person in Hindu Act.
What should we understand term Hindu in definition? I don't know how it is
I
written.
didn't understand the question, and anyhow, this is not related to Hindu law. This session is not related to Hindu law.
I think there. If anybody is having any questions, they can put in chat box. Otherwise, we are ending the session. Madam, I think we should stop now. Thank you very much, Advocate
Thank you.
Jaymala, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Your lecture was very informative and you have made it in very simple manner so that everybody could understood it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, I extend my sincere thanks to you, madam.
Thank you.
And there are some instructions for the participants.
This subject is very technical, so I have to go through the sections and I have to explain that way only. The act
Yes.
is very technical.
Yes, yes. And I think rules are also much more important in this particular.
Yes, but I have tried to cover main rules, which from the point of examination.
Yes, yes. Thank you, madam. There are some instructions while session is going on. Participants are requested to please keep off your mic and video. There are a lot of disturbance in today's lecture. I extend my sincere apology to ma'am on behalf of the participants, madam. And we have to follow the disciplines
No
every
need to
time.
say I'm not seeking apology. Like no need to say. But yes, if you're attending, then yes, you should totally give that attention to that person. Otherwise, that person's flow will get disturbed.
Correct, correct. We will be meeting tomorrow sharp at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm requesting the host to please close down the meeting.
Thank